Might have won by 1 point, but it's still at least. Watch.
Like, well,
Take the field goal again.
no.
Oh.
February.
It's not usable, it's not something. They're all. But your backyard is. Your backyard and my front yard.
Yeah.
Road. Oh, we're not. We ready, Lisa? Doesn't look like my screen's not us.
No, it's not.
We just got a railroad crossing. I'd like to see somebody. I'd like to see.
Well, the arm isn't down, so you're not stopped.
Let's,
Nobody.
puts Dave's face on there. Okay. We would like to welcome everybody to South Weber City Council at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, December the 9th, 2025. Blair Halverson is joining us online tonight. We'll begin with the pledge. I'll lead us in the pledge, and then Councilman Dills will offer prayer. If you please stand and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and most glorious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful, Father, for your watchful eye and your Holy Spirit and how it watches and protects our community, how it looks out for all the people that are in it. Please bless that as we go about the city's work today, that we will be able to have the spirit of discernment, to be able to know what is right and what we should do, and to work through these issues as allies, friends, and professionally handle the issues as they come up. We are grateful for our chance to be able to do this, and I say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll begin with public comments. If you've got a comment, we'd ask you to come up to the microphone and state your name and city in which you reside. allow you 3 minutes to speak, and please speak to the complete council. And we will not respond to your comments, so we'll open it for comments. If someone has comments pertaining to the public hearing, we would ask that you offer those comments at that time. So public comments, anyone? Come on up.
Paul Straz, South Weaver. Council members, neighbors, friends, thank you for the chance to speak. I care deeply about South Weaver's future, and tonight's agenda represents choices that will shape our community's character, finances, and quality of life. I'd like to recognize that serving on the council is a hard job. Balancing growth, budgets, and community expectations is no easy task, and I respect the weight of your responsibility. I want to begin by recognizing the city's move to report fund transfers monthly instead of yearly. That step greatly improves transparency, and I thank you for it. However, October's reports raise a little concern. Revenues stand at 31%, and while some shortfalls reflect lagging indicators such as the general fund, recreation, and capital projects, they also reveal a possible deeper structural reliance on one-time sources. On the spending side, the fleet fund has already consumed 50% of its front-loaded budget. The transportation utility just 1%, which is a backloaded cycle, I understand. But road impact fees are at 98% collected and only 1% spent. That imbalance could show a possible outpacing of infrastructure against growth. Resolution 2534 compounds the issue with reliance on money from our reserves, which are our safety net, and a one-time revenue, which does not fix recurring shortfalls and doesn't solve long-term gaps. The unified brush truck lease demonstrates the challenge clearly. $74,000 due up front, partly offset by selling the old trucks, but annual payments climbed from $22,000 to $37,000 per truck in fiscal year 27, a 68% jump. That locks us into higher costs for years, and if we're already relying on reserves today, how are we going to meet tomorrow's obligations? And let's not forget, taxes already rose 11.98% this year with rezoning and escalating costs. How many more percentage points can we expect in the future? At the same time, Ordinance 2517 rezones 35.66 acres from agriculture into multiple residential zones, adding anywhere from 165 to 285 new homes to our 4.68 square mile community. More homes means more traffic, more calls for police, more demand on our fire department, more students in crowded schools, and more pressure on sewers, storm drainage, water supply, and Rocky Mountain Power. Impact fees are meant to offset a lot of these costs, but they don't go far enough. A single-family home brings in about $10,000, while the real cost of roads, schools, utilities, and public safety often exceeds $20,000. That gap falls back on taxpayers immediately, while some developers can defer their fees for years, sometimes interest-free. South Weaver still lacks a grocery store and a public junior high. With South Weaver Elementary and Highmark already full, families must drive out of town for basic needs and education. Adding hundreds of homes without addressing these gaps, to me, only increases the burden on residents. Taken together, in closing, these financial and land use decisions show how quickly South Weaver is changing. Growth may be inevitable, but it must be managed with openness, accountability, and foresight. Budgets should be sustainable, not dependent on short-term fixes or escalating obligations. Rezoning should balance housing needs with infrastructure capacity, and every amendment should be explained clearly so residents understand its impact. I come here tonight with hope that South Weaver can grow responsibly, protect its heritage, and remain a place where families thrive. Your job is hard, but it's also vital. And together we can safeguard South Weaver's future. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move along. The next item on, okay, come on up.
Yeah, my name is Ann Turner. I'm not as well informed as this gentleman was, and I really appreciate everything he said, and I have to agree with it. My concern has also been about the education system. How are you going to take in all these new families, new children, and be able to provide for them? Also, the fact that we have to basically rent a cop from Davis County, am I right? That the city has to pay Davis Sheriff's Department to have some patrols
We've
here.
got a contract with.
And they're, my daughter used to be a traffic guard, crossing guard down here. And I mean, she had to literally call him up and say, get somebody over here. People are going way too fast. You know, I've seen children nearly get hit. I almost got hit, even by parents of the very children they're going to pick up, which is crazy. And so I'm wondering about that kind of growth, you know, when you have the population growth, what about the police department? Can we develop a police department here so that we have local police? We don't have to, you know, try and, you know, beg them for their support from down in Davis Sheriff's Department. That's, to me, that's important. We don't know who's going to be moving in here and living here. Some of us have been here for 35 years and more, but we don't know who's going to move in here. Maybe they're all going to be just wonderful, upstanding people. But because of that, I just feel like there's still a risk that we need to have a police department of our own. And that should be something we put on a high on the priority list. And I don't know about what the budget would be, but you know, I know that our taxes have been increased significantly. I know you're getting a certain amount of money through paying for permits to build and that sort of thing. So there has to be enough money to be able to consider getting a police department of our own. So that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Ann.
Ann. Anyone else?
Yes, I want to add to what my wife just said, and I too agree with that. I don't believe that there should be more congestion into our city because we have South Weber Drive as a 2-lane road, and I live on this road, and I observe for different times of the day, different times of the week that people go by over the speed limit. The speed limit here is supposed to be approximately 40 to 45 miles an hour. I'm not sure exactly, but I do my best to keep it down. But I notice there's little children that walk from that school down there, South Weber Elementary, and they go across the street with the crossing guard, and there's little children about maybe 2 feet tall, kindergartners and young children up to 6th grade. And I see trucks go by, and they have no respect for the signs and for the blinking yellow lights, and they go as fast as they dare. And I have observed this. Now, you call me a liar if you want, but I've observed it, and I've seen it at different times of the day when the school is going to school and coming out of school. And I watch these little children walk, and I just hope and pray that they don't get run over, hit by a car because they're riding their little bikes and they could go off the curb. And some of these trucks, some go faster than others. And I've seen cars and I've seen people go by with motorcycles late at night. And some people go to bed at 10 o'clock, some people go to bed at 11. And I've observed them even at that hour of the night, and they go by fast, make noise. And I don't know where you folks live, but I know I live over here and I hear this all the time. And we have no police force in this town. My father used to be a policeman. I know I grew up with that a little bit, and I know what he went through. And I know that we have the Davis County Sheriff that comes by here once in a while. And I say the Utah Highway Patrol driving in here maybe once or twice a week or every couple of weeks. And that's not enough protection for our children. And there's been abductions in this city and around our cities here. And I'm worried about it. And I don't know if you folks are worried about it, but I am. I'm a concerned citizen, and I don't like what I see. And if we're going to have growth in this city, I'm not opposed to growth. I'm not opposed to progress, and you name it. We have very little businesses in this town to bring in revenue. So about 3 to 5 years ago, the previous mayor raised our taxes 100%. For what? I don't see any growth here from that. And you're getting ready to build houses here some more. So who's going to pay for all this? Who's going to pay for the utilities, the water, the gas, everything that's supposed to go in here to furnish houses for these homes to satisfy the needs of our community members here, future people? I don't know. But even Governor Cox put out a report here a couple of weeks ago that He told people, if you've been moving into Utah, don't move in here. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the water. We don't have the utilities. We have to make our roads bigger, widen our streets, everything to handle the traffic of the people here. And I've noticed over the last few years, since the housing market has gone up, the prices, that people can't afford to buy a home anymore. Or young people can't afford to move out of their mother and father's place and rent a home for a modest price. They can't do that anymore.
Okay,
They
Mr.
have to
Turner,
move back in with mom and
thank you. Your
dad.
time's up, Mr. Turner. Thank
Time's
you.
up?
Yes.
My time is never up.
You had
It's
three-
always,
it's
this
3
story
minutes.
goes on. And I hope you gentlemen and ladies will consider this before you start raising taxes for all the people that are already living here and putting a burden on our
Okay,
shoulders.
thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon me?
Can you state your full name?
Robert G. Turner. That's me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, anyone else? Okay, next item.
Mayor,
Yes.
some very good points were brought up. Do we want to maybe acknowledge some of those points at this time, or do we want to let the people know that we can address these points at the end of the agenda? So
We can do that at the end.
at the end, okay, so we will address some of your comments at the end if you'd like to stick around. Thank you.
Annual court review, Judge Memmott, would you like to come up?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I can't believe it's been a year
I
that I
know.
was sitting here. It's
Didn't
gone
think
by
it could spend that long.
way too quick. Couple things I think are really interesting in the courts. The courts have a clerk leadership council where they have just a few clerks that are the best of the best in the state that are involved in teaching and training and helping set the agenda for how court should run. Lisa is one of the very few that has been selected for that. This last year, I was elected by other judges to be on the judicial council here in the state. And so in this very, very small community court we have here, we're punching way above our weight in the impact we have. And that's just a real testament to the quality of people that we have working here. As I'm sure you know as well, we have the Weber County Attorney, Chris Allred, is the prosecuting attorney here. And so the professionalism and the way this court is run is top notch. I'm the judge for 6 different cities, and my kids will ask me at times, what is my favorite court? And every time it's a very easy answer, and it's South Weber, and they ask me why. And I give them a lot of reasons, but the main 2 reasons are it's just so professionally run. Everything in here is run as professional and as well as you can. Everyone here has always been unbelievably kind to me from day one. And I think it's a combination of the people I get a chance to work with every time I come in and the professionals court that make it an easy answer. This really is, I think, the best run court in the whole state. And I don't say that lightly. I really do believe that. This year we've passed all the audits, completed all training and education. I think we're a court that truly in the state, any court in the state could look up to. I'm grateful for the chance to be here and be part of this community. I think I've been a judge here for 6 years already. And it's a job that I'm grateful for the opportunity to have. I'm grateful for the confidence that I continue to get from all of you. Again, grateful for the professionalism of everyone I get a chance to work with. And if there are any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have just a few.
Absolutely.
A lot of it is just because we've got budget season coming up real quick here. Where you see what's going on in all the other cities, is there anything that you could see ahead of us this next year that would require an additional amount of budget being spent here? For example, I know that we've had a security issue kind of recently. I know that everything was taken care of real quickly, but just wanted to know if you see anything kind of
Anything on the
forward
horizon?
thinking.
I don't. There's no legislation that I'm aware of, nothing that's on the books. If there's any legislation that's passed, I'll be aware of it pretty quickly because of the position I now have on the judicial council. But there's nothing in the horizon that I'm aware of that should really change anything that's going on here.
And another city that they had an audit issue. Are we open to that same kind of issue with our processes, or do you see everything being different from what that one city was doing?
No, we have, every few years, every court has to go through an audit, and I think it's been, how long's it been, Lisa? A couple years? We've done ours, the biggest recent audit. And I can tell you, having gone through audits in several cities, this city is again at the very top. Every audit is going to find some issues. The issues that were found in this city were the fewest number and the least impactful things that they could find. Really, it's just ticky-tacky things that they found. But again, Lisa, Dave, everyone else that's in charge of things here run things so well that, to be honest, of any of the courts that I have, this is the one I have the very, very least concern of there being any issues.
That's fantastic. And we agree with you on Lisa. So, but, and
You
Dave,
may-
of course, Dave. Wasn't trying to skip Dave, but so thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, Judge,
very
thank you very much.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Judge.
Next item is our consent agenda consisting of November 18th, 2025 minutes, November's checks, October's budget to actual, 26 minutes meeting schedule. Is there any changes or discussions on the consent agenda? If not, we'll look for a motion to approve it.
Again, I do have just a couple quick questions on it. I'm really not trying to make this longer, but Beacon Code Consultants, is that something that we have as a line item, or is that just considered consultants? Or I just didn't know when we were spending for code.
That's the name of a company that helps with building inspections.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I was thinking the wrong different kind of code. Layton, we've got a payment for their Metro Strike team. Is that a gaming club or?
No, that's related to police and law enforcement. Layton City is the owners of a strike force that all members of the county participate in a payment toward. It's essentially a narcotics kind of a situation where, yeah, we pay our portion and then they cover the county on.
So that's
type
not
of-
covered under Davis County.
No,
Okay, and this is just through Layton and
Yes.
is that payment a?
annual,
Oh, okay,
once a year.
okay.
And there's a specific revenue stream that comes in that's just kind of a pass through.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of course, and this one's just for you, Dave, again, Cintas, I don't know how you say their name. Yes, thank you. Again, I mean, we're showing 80, 90 bucks every week just for the first aid kit in City Hall. Unless you guys are doing Fight Club here, and I know we can't talk about it if you are, but it just seems a little bit of high. So if you guys could just kind of watch that and see what's really going on with it. I don't think anyone has a specific job to monitor what these guys are doing and charging for. So if you guys could just keep an eye out just as we move forward, because it kind of seems weird. But that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? For a motion?
Mayor, make a motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Seconded.
For a motion second. All in favor, state.
Aye.
Jeremy
Davis.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I think everybody was unanimous. Okay, next item, resolution 25-33, appointing 2 planning commissioners. A little background on that, Chad Scola has reached the end of his first term and would like to stay on for another term. And Gary Boatwright is resigning at the end of this year. And so I would like to propose to the council that we take Brad Dopp and put him in that position. And he's here with us tonight. If any of you might have any questions for him. Brad, do you want to come on up? And so that with Gary resigning, then Brad would take that if approved, immediately he would step into that position, so. And then that would be to fill the remainder of Gary's tenure, which is 2 more years. He just was reappointed this year, so. Any questions? Anyone have any questions for Brad?
Better fire now.
See, this is when we need Haley and those silly questions.
Do we need it?
No, we really
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great move. You got a lot of experience in this field, so yeah.
Okay, we'll look for a motion then.
Mayor, I
Mayor?
move to approve resolution 25-33 appointing Brad Dopp to replace Gary Boatwright's term and reappointing Chad Scola to the planning commission.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, second by Councilman Petty, or Councilwoman Petty. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye.
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 Welcome aboard,
Thank you.
Brad. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Appreciate it. You can hang out or you can leave.
I'll hang it out. Let's see what it's all about.
Well, we're gonna lose him.
Planning Commission is Thursday night, 6 o'clock, if you want to find out what it's really like. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Brad's gonna do a great job. Next item, resolution 25-34 fiscal year 2026 budget amendment.
We have the public hearing first.
Oh, public hearing, did I overlooked that one? That's in big red letters. We'll look for a motion to open a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 2026 budget amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor, make a motion to open public hearing for the fiscal year 26 budget amendment.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is open. Anyone have any comments pertaining to this budget amendment? Seeing none, we'll ask for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we'll go to resolution 26-34 fiscal year 2026 budget amendment. Council have any discussion on this?
I just have a couple of questions on it.
Okay.
Of course. Let me.
We have
find
that
my-
background memo brought up to our screens, please.
Yeah. There we go.
Thank you.
So my first question with this is, I don't understand why the money that went back into the general fund, at that time, we knew where it came from and that we hadn't spent that money on what was needed. How is that not kind of looked at immediately and said, okay, this is a huge amount that we are going to have to reserve for it? Because in my mind, this should have been handled as part of the budget itself.
Which item are you talking about?
$152,000.
Okay, so with the water fund, we had it set aside last year to do that project. It started in June and did not get done until October.
Right.
So we can't go back and spend that money back in last fiscal
No, I understand
year.
that, but at
And
the end of
that's
that
what I-
year, you knew that there was $152,000.
I did not know.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't. Looking through the data, it didn't come to my attention until after the fiscal year had started
Uh-huh.
that project was not done. And so that's why we're asking money that went into the reserves at the end of this year that get pulled out, pay for that portion that was supposed to happen last year, but did not get completed until October.
Is there a way that we could keep track of those differently? It's just kind of to have to go back and do a full amendment for that large of an amount. I mean, I understand as things come up during the year, adding to it, of course. But in my mind, if something wasn't completed and the money got moved over, we would have recognized, okay, there's an extra 152,000. And this, I'm not attacking you. I'm
No.
trying to go figure out where the process failed us, because
Yeah,
this is tough at the end of the year.
So it is, and I completely understand your concerns. What had happened is the service provider actually thought that they had sent us the invoice at that time. It it was their oversight, and
Yeah.
we didn't catch it until our water department came to me and asked the question, what do we do with this? This is related to last fiscal year.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at now, is doing an amendment budget for that one item. We did have the money last year. We put it back into our reserves, knowing that this fiscal year, at that same time, we were kind of doing year-end stuff when it was all discovered. And so that's kind of where we landed.
Right. Okay, I would just like to recommend that as we go through this, because even in the reserves, technically, we've taken it into account as we do that whole budget. And that's just something that, again, I would like a little bit, some type of process that somehow checks that. I don't know if that's even possible, but
I'm
I
learning some
trust you.
things here and there as I go through it. There are some checks that we could have caught it sooner.
Yeah.
But in the end, we didn't get the invoice until October from the service provider.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I appreciate
That's
it. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, you have another question?
Nope, that was it.
I have one question with regards to the brush truck. We have an explanation as to why it's about 158% increase.
there's a few things that happened. First off, about a year and a half ago is when, maybe 2 years ago, is when the upfitting was estimated and quoted. That's a big portion of it is just the cost of everything between 2 years has gone up. And that's the numbers that were used. Those were the most up-to-date numbers that we had at the time. And so we went with that. We're looking at different procedures on how we can estimate a better number, because typically with brush trucks, it is a lot longer time to build them out. And it's rough to estimate what it's going to be 2 years from now. But we are looking at those different processes and procedures to give a better estimate on costs.
I'm going to dig a little deeper on that one. So I'm assuming we've ordered it in order for them to build it. They're not guaranteeing the price at the time of order, even though it's 2 years out to delivery.
No, there's not a guarantee, because they're not the company that's doing the upfitting. We provided them the quote of the upfit. And then when it got to that point of even ordering the vehicle, that's when they realized that our quote was 2 years old at that point.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, look for a motion on this budget item.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2534 fiscal year 2026 budget amendment.
Motion by Councilman Davis. We have a second.
Second by Joel.
Second by Councilman Dales. With a roll call vote from Councilwoman Petty.
Aye, but Councilman Halverson looks like he's joined us
Oh,
online. So
he is online. I forgot he was there.
I've been here the whole time.
I know, and I said that you were. I just, I don't see you on the end down here.
You're good. Aye.
Councilman Halverson, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Next item, resolution 25-35, reappointing of Mayor Westbrook to the Central Weaver Sewer Improvement District Board.
Mayor, I make a motion, to approve resolution 2535, reappoint Mayor Westbrook to Central Weber Sewer Improvement District Board.
Second, Windsor.
Have a second? You got the second? Councilman Windsor? Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye.
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 Little louder, Blair.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 25-36, 2026. Cooperative wildfire system commitment. Any discussion on this item?
Mayor, can I point something out?
Yes, please.
Just to make sure that it's understood and clear. We do this every year, but you'll notice that our commitment this year is significantly decreased in cost. The reason for that is they have reevaluated and updated their wildland maps. And it shows a decrease in the area within the city that we have to specifically account for in terms of the wildland wildfire protection. And so that's why that number is decreased. But we still will continue to do many of the same things we've done for wildfire protection. But that's why that commitment number has decreased, because they changed the maps.
I think it's a very well program. And with that, I'll motion to approve resolution 2536, adopting the 2026 cooperative wildfire system commitment.
Seconded, Jeremy.
Second by Councilman Davis. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Unanimous. Next item, ordinance 2025-17, changing zoning for Peak subdivision at approximately 898 east, 7240 south, from agricultural to multiple residential zones by applicant Corey Cap at Vern Peak. Discussion on this. Anyone?
Well, I'll never be quiet.
We
The-
want you to.
I know. Makes the meeting so much fun and longer. I've got to be honest, I have some real problems with this one. I too agree that the plan itself really just it doesn't, in my mind, number one, match the general plan. It is the general plan specific says which areas can be what, and coming close to that, I don't think is worthy of the intent that everyone went through during that time, trying to figure out what to do with that space. The cloud is a perfect example where it was, and those who are on the council, please feel free to jump in and correct me on it. But my understanding was that the cloud was there as kind of a zone where they didn't really know what to do with that area. And they were trying to leave it open for things, but at the same time, that was never meant to be a very dense population area. It's low residential and low moderate. And while I think there are definitely an argument to be made, if you will, that everything on it is just asking for a little bit of an increase, I don't really think that that's the case in my mind. I think that this is a much higher, much denser area. I don't see anything in this that shows, and I say this just looking at the map, I don't see this as that great of a subdivision where everything is kind of crammed in. I don't see any walking trails. I don't see any parks. I don't see any amenities for the city and the people that are going to be living there. The only thing I see is that the one section of the west side is now going to become so dense in population that it really is going to impact the city. And I don't think that that was the intent with it. So I really just have problems with it, and I can't see myself voting to make a change on this. So
Are you against voting for the entire rezone or portions of the rezone, or what are you against specifically?
I'm against the patios. I think that you can do some. I think that it's a great idea to be able to have a lower entry point for some of the houses here in South Weber. I think that's important. The diversity of homes and the prices, but at the same time, I'm not as concerned with that as I am what the rest of the impact's going to be for that entire neighborhood, that whole subdivision. I support the residential low, 100%. And I think that even the low moderate, to me, I think it makes a push further in density than I necessarily want to see there, but I do understand why they would come in and ask for it. So I haven't made a full decision on that, but for the patio homes, the size of it and everything, since we can't modify this, and do we have cap or peak here? So I can't vote for the entire thing because it would take a reduction in some of these and changes to others. So yeah, that's why I'd be voting no.
Lance, can you give us a little insight on this? Because I think you had commented that it does meet the general plan.
Yeah, I don't know, I just looked at the general plan map and the areas correspond pretty close.
Close.
Yeah, and the general plan is just that, and that's why we.
That's what the general plan is.
It's not meant to be a very specific document. It is a guideline at a higher level, but.
Disagree.
In Utah's code, that's just where it's at. The RP zone and that bubble diagram is used to the property to the west, and kind of worked there, so, that they were just following that pattern that was established over on Harvest Park. We also had the issue of, just, well, the increase in the desire for more moderate income housing. It was brought up at the planning commission that the patio homes offer a type of housing that's useful and beneficial to all sorts of people in various stages of life, seniors and starters. So there's pros and cons to both.
I'm against rezoning any of it patio homes. I think lower moderate is what fits the general plan, and I don't see any justification for a higher density right there. So I would be okay with the moderate and the low, but I would be a no for the patio homes.
Just to go back and maybe add some clarification, the bubbled area, as I understood it when we went to the general plan, was to help in transitioning from the freeway area as we got further away or south to South Weber Drive, was to go from a more higher dense to a moderate dense to a lower dense, and kind of giving that transition, giving them an option, maybe a frontage to Old Fort Road was the idea or the concept at that time. What's presented here is kind of convoluted. They've pushed it more inward and kind of transition. So I had, application, I can see what they're trying to accomplish, but I don't appreciate it being pushed inward and kind of melded in around the RM. I'm not opposed to patio homes. I am somewhat dismayed by when we approved patio homes before in a certain area. They made them 2-story, which is kind of, they're allowed to, but I think the patio home and our intent was to have a single story, no basement type of a home. We're not getting into the actual site plan approval. This is more zone change, but this gives us an glimpse as to how they want to do that. And I was on the fence. I'm having some consternation about the way they want to transition. I would see it more higher, moderate, low in that phase because it blends in with what's to the east and it blends in with what's to the west or one lot to the west. How it's laid out, you know, the roads, the trails and all the other things I think would come through further plan review and so forth. But yeah.
So the patio zone does have a height restriction, 25 feet.
But they could put two. True, it's 25 feet is the height restriction, but they've been doing that by lowering the ground floor somewhat a couple of feet below grade in order to get the 2 stories in. If you look at the patio homes they put in just to the west of there, that's what they've done.
But I don't know that. Go
The
ahead.
patio homes in Harvest Park were allowed to go a second floor as part of a development agreement where the city received the dog park.
If we're going to go patio homes in this area, I would like to see some sort of accommodations that the city is going to receive on the other side of it. If we're going to allow patio homes in there, just to allow patio homes as it's stated in our code, I'm not for that. So there would have to be some further discussions with the planning commission and staff if they want to continue down that path.
What is it about the patio, or maybe misheard you, Wayne, but what is it that specifically that you would want? Are you saying that you want to like negotiate some kind of trade-off? If we're gonna allow patio homes if you do this, or?
Well, they're increasing the density. So if we're going to go against a higher density than what the public has allowed as part of the general plan, what is the city going to benefit for allowing that? So it's a
So
minor.
you are looking for some kind of.
It's a minor negotiation point. I'm not just going to give them, yeah, you can have higher density and walk away. One, I mean, obviously staff, I'm assuming staff from the utility side of things has already understood that the higher density, we have capacities in our storm drains, we have the capacities in our sewer. The water infrastructure is always paid for by the developer that comes in. The actual supply of the water comes from Weber Basin based upon our projection of growth. So that's how they understand how much water is to be made available for the community coming in. But yeah, anyway, there's something that the city can benefit from if we're going to allow greater density. Otherwise, move it outward or just make it RM and RL.
You're saying move the patios to just this line as the buffer zone that you were.
That was my understanding of the intent when we originally put the cloud on the general plan back in 2017, 2016, and it came back again in 2020 with more of that discussion. It was more of a transition from the freeway, what might have been a commercial highway toward to the west, into a more residential. So it's more of a development, a concept, more of a flow.
I gotcha.
Can you hear me? Can I just make a quick comment?
Yes, we can hear you.
Barely.
Barely?
Speak
Okay.
loud.
We'll be really quiet for you, Blair.
All right, you'll be really quiet. So I do remember that a little different than Wayne a little bit, and I apologize, Wayne, but I remember it that we were, we put the cloud on there so we would consider it, but we would only consider it if there was a reason to consider it. So the reason I remember considering it for the property to the west, they did get the 2 stories on the patio, but they didn't always have patio homes. They only got the patio home section when they gave us the dog park. So they donated 4 acres to the city, to Joel's point, and we got supposedly a walking trail and other things in there that the city and the citizens got to use in exchange for that higher density. I thought that's why the cloud was there, so that we had an area where we could consider a higher density if the city was getting something in return. I don't favor just changing it to patio homes. I don't agree with Lance that it meets the general plan. If it came in zoned or requesting a zone for RLM and RM, I would just say okay, because that to me meets the general plan's intent. Just like we did with the CAP property to the east. There wasn't questions. It met the general plan. We approved it. I can't approve it with RP in it, especially with 2-story RP in it, because it does allow it, because that was a big debate the night that Harvest Park came in and made that proposal to us.
Yeah, I'm in the same line with Wayne on this one. I just didn't understand the cloud very well, so thank you for the insight. So I am in agreement with Wayne and Blair on this one. I am not in favor of the patio homes as designed and presented with nothing for the city.
And I do just want to clarify my feelings on something. I was one of those that was not on the council. I was one of those that was a citizen that fought really hard for everything in the general plan. And I know I'm way outnumbered on this board with those that don't believe that it is anything other than a guiding document. And to a degree, of course it is, but when you have citizens that work that hard to put something together, and even the small changes we make, I mean, we've got other land that is around there that is still open to be developed. And if the only necessary requirement for changing away from what the hard work of the general plan was is, well, it's already somewhat close to everyone around it. Well, by making our decision on this one, that also then loosens the strength we have on the other ones that go around it, because everything will just be kind of, well, we can keep on adding to it because we've already got some. And so I think that's just my own personal reason for it. So thanks.
Okay, I think we're unanimous then on what we're all thinking. Someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I move to deny ordinance 2025-17 changing zoning for peak subdivision.
Second.
Motion is second by Councilman Windsor. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye.
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 Okay. Unanimous, thank you. Next item, ordinance 2025-18, amending Title 10, Chapter 1, Section 10, definition, Chapter 4 or 5, Section 5A9, A, 5B-9A, 5D-9A, and 5E-9A, private right-of-way.
I'm sorry, Mayor, could you just repeat that for me?
No. I think you heard me. I think you heard me the first time. Let me get a drink of water and maybe I'll try it again.
That was too good.
Okay, discussion on this. Any?
Someone give me backgrounds to the change from the code. I mean,
Brandon,
they brought
you
this
want
up
to
for a
give us some
reason.
background on this?
Can you help us out?
Years ago, there was reference to private roads in the code, but nothing that really said anything about what they needed to be. So I don't remember how long this has been in the code, but we actually adopted and put in the city standards what the road sections would be for private roads. And then in each zone was authorized which cross-section would apply in that particular zone. What we have found is that cross-section C, which is basically just 20 feet of pavement, does not have really any application anywhere, but developers always want it. And so I think we as staff feel like rather than being a little misleading and showing it as an option and then telling them why it doesn't work, just makes it difficult for us as we process applications. So that the recommendation would be to just remove it and just leave A and B.
Mayor, make the motion to approve ordinance 2025-18, amending Title 10, Chapter 1, Section 10, definitions, Chapter 5, Section 5A, 9A, 5B, 9A, 5D, 9A, and 5E, 9A for private right-of-way.
Seconded, Davis.
Second by Councilman Davis. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item, ordinance 25-19, amending Title 10, Chapter 11, supplementary and qualifying regulations in Chapter 1 through 10 definitions. This is pertaining to storage containers. Any discussion on this?
No, I think this falls in line with what we were looking for.
I think so. Okay, look for a motion to approve then.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 2025-19 as written.
Okay.
Second. Joel. Dills.
Second by Councilman Beals. We roll call vote, starting with Councilman Winston.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Great. Okay, that makes us through. Agenda tonight, new business. Dave, have you got any new business you need to bring up?
Nope.
Anyone with new business?
I have one on new business. I guess it would be qualified under that. Again, we've kind of gone with the idea of whenever the state requires for noticing, that's what we would go with. I would like to, if the rest of the council supports, adding back some of our old language that gave notification to those directly around the area that was going to be rezoned, or anything that was going to have a public hearing on, if it was specific to a specific area. And we can look at the distance on that. I know before it's been like 300 feet or 300 yards, or I can't remember what the original was. But I do get a lot of feedback about not knowing that we've had these. And I think a lot of the city just remembers the old days of always getting a notice in the mail or something like that. So just thoughts for the rest of the council, if you think we should look into that or not.
Question for you, Joel.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding correctly, you're saying the neighbors next to a rezone are not being notified as it's currently written?
Correct. I mean, we still do we'll put the public notice sign for the planning commission. But that's about it. The code itself, we changed to just following the state, which I think on most things, that's the good way to go on it. But I think that's moved us too far to the minimum to really be open and transparent in everything that's coming, and giving the public the chance to, especially if it's right there in their area, say something about it. And that's not to knock the new signs. I think they're fantastic, especially with the QR code, but I've still heard it from people out there. So
Is this something we want to have as a discussion item with the council, or is this something we want to take back to the planning commission to discuss and bring a recommendation back?
I just wanted to see how everybody feels about it, and then we could move forward with whatever action. So
I'm open to a discussion.
Okay.
Same.
Ready? I'm open.
Okay. Dave, do you want to make sure that goes through whichever is the best process, whether it's a planning commission or code committee has to create something for it and then send it to them, however you want to do it? It's really just a simple addition or paragraph to what it was before. So
Absolutely, we can do that. The question that I have is, do you want us to summarize what the code is requiring now based on the types of land use decisions, so that the council can get a feel for all of those requirements?
yeah, I think that'd be fantastic.
And then be able to decide how or what you'd like to adjust from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, committee reports. Start with Wayne.
Okay, I'll start with my community reports, and then I'd like to take a moment to address some of the comments, if I may. Okay. With regards to sand and gravel, we've not met as a committee, but we have had several meetings with the state. Nothing more to report other than conversations continue to go along with the aggregate operations workshop or work group. I think it's going to be a standing committee that's going to report back, well, reports to the Director of Environmental Quality, and he in turn will be reporting back to the legislative heads, leadership, I should say, with regards to questions that might come up and or questions they might have in that regard. It's not perceived that there'll be any legislative change in the 2026 legislative session. Most of the suggestions and our ideas that are coming up, although we haven't gotten into the detail, was reported back to be administrative or something they can handle within the Division of Air Quality. So that was the report from that aspect of the board. If I may, a couple of the comments that were brought up this evening. The one group kind of go in reverse order. With development beyond the city limits, some, and this is my opinion, not speaking on behalf of the council, but my opinion, some agencies are reactive in their planning methodology. Not to name names, but transportation is one that is rarely proactive, is actually reactive. And so sometimes when population is outpaces the road and the transportation, then they react, and that's when increasing road carrying capacities come about. For the city's perspective, when we talked about this earlier, we do have a planning document called a general plan, that the basis of which goes into the utilities and the capital facilities and capital improvement plans. What has been reported to this council during my tenure has been that our infrastructure that is in place, the main lines, the carrying capacity is sufficient, more than sufficient, in carrying the build out of the city based upon the general plan. That's why the question comes in when somebody comes in and asks for a higher density than what the general plan has. There's always a question: is can the carrying capacity maintain, be able to take that? That was the biggest issue that we had when they wanted to have auxiliary dwelling units. By increasing the capacity of residential moderate homes from what we assumed as 4 people per home, could be doubled to 8. And if you increase that by 25%, sometimes the carrying capacity of the utilities is exceeded by the legislation that came upon us. So we continue to look to staff to give us the wink and a nod that yes, our infrastructure is able to support the growth. The growth is planned. So if it is coming in as per plan, then we're comfortable moving forward with that. With regards to the questions that came up about law enforcement, I'm looking over at our committee chair who's making copious notes. And I'm assuming that those copious notes are going to be brought back to our Davis County Sheriff's Office. But I too am concerned with regards to some of the responses. Not to disparage our Davis County Sheriff's Office, but there could be some focused attention in certain areas at certain times of the day. And I think that could be brought back. With regards to our own police service, we did go through a study, and this is where I'm going to look at the numbers, and maybe Angie and or Blair back there, but it seems to me that when we got quotes from neighboring cities to provide a police force, it was nearly double the cost of the Davis County Sheriff's Office. And if we wanted to open our own police force, we had an initial capital investment of more than $2 million. It was like $2 to $4 million just to start. And then there was an O&M cost to be able to maintain that year to year that was beyond what our current budgets could support and maintain. If the greater public wants us to have our own police force, then that's something we can take internally, but we need to give them the information back with regards to this is what that means. And right now, the current revenue streams from sales tax, property tax, things of that nature is grossly insufficient to be able to maintain everything else and add that into our system, although we will take that into consideration as that comes up. I do appreciate the comments that were brought up earlier with regards to our budgeting and the insights. I really valued the thought that was brought into that. Thank you. One thing I had asked to consider as you do your evaluation is revenues sometimes come in on the back end from expenditures, and we're always looking at that to make sure that they catch up toward the end of the year. Other times, the expenditures are at the end of the fiscal year. With regards to the one specific on Transportation Utility Fund, appreciate you bringing that one up. I don't want to use we failed. We did not complete the assigned expenditures in the fiscal year, which they were planned. And so that money got carried forward. Those monies are planned to be spent this spring, April, May, June timeframe. And I believe we've got all but maybe 10% of those allocated to be spent for roads in this coming fiscal year. So I do appreciate the comment. I don't have I didn't write all the information down, but I wanted to address some of those high points that I recall. So thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to express my
Thank you
opinions
for
on some of those.
expressing. Jeremy?
Yeah, just a couple updates from the safety committee. First, David came back with intel on the fire break details because there was some question on do we need to build in a fire break on the hillside, and it was initial estimates came. I wouldn't say official. It was like official. The word I'm looking for. Assumptions. Initial assumptions would be that would cost in the millions to put in a fire break that would be sufficient to be deemed a fire break. So the response to that is we don't think that the cost justifies the means at this point, but that we will keep an eye on any available grants that might come up to help facilitate paying that. There was also discussion about breaking it up into different sections, and maybe we could piecemeal it, but we're still looking at the same exorbitant cost to install that over time anyway, with probably even more so over time, really. But yeah, so a lot of
I'm sorry, are you talking about the hillside right here
oh, your hillside
on the east
Yeah,
side of the city?
east side. Yep.
Thank you.
You can imagine it would be even more so if we did the whole hillside there. So
Right, yes.
yeah, that did come up, and there was a lot of laughter that ensued on that one. But just because the cost would just be so much. Also, the emergency operations plan has been drafted, and looks like there's just going to be a couple of tweaks, and they're hoping that it'll be for review sometime this month, if that's, or we're looking probably January now since it's our last meeting, right?
Well, it'll get to the council first part of next year.
Yeah.
But it will get out to staff here tomorrow, actually, for review and some training exercises with the draft plan and kind of the final revisions. It will get out to the Public Safety Committee shortly thereafter.
Great, thank you, David. And did you have a chance to follow up on the repainting of the sides of the cars? Or not painting, but what do you call that? Putting South Weber on, graphics.
I have not talked to the sheriff's office about that yet.
Okay, so that's an open agenda item because that came up several months ago and that still hasn't been done. But that was something that the sheriff said that they were gonna do for us. So outside of that, there were a couple of budget items, but I won't bring them up here. We'll save those for budget time. And then to Wayne's point, I was taking notes about complaints about the school zone. I know that we talked about that before. I'll work with David to bring that up to the sheriff's office as well to make sure that that stays top of mind and we see some movement there so that we can get some results instead of just keep talking about it with no action. I think that's something you brought up.
I
too.
actually see them out there quite often, especially South Weber Drive.
Yeah, I see them on South Weber Drive occasionally, but I don't see them in the city streets. And that's with me both doing tours, looking at each one of the parks and what's going on at each of them, and my office window facing 2100 East. So I can see everybody who zooms by, and none of them have red and blue lights. But this has been an ongoing discussion for a long time. I do want to mention, though, if there ever is an appetite for it, the state of Utah does have an exception that if it is put into school zones, they will even offer doing a pilot program for it. And I'm talking photocop. So state of Utah bans it in all other kind of areas on it, but they recognize that speeders going through a school zone, especially across Rock 1, the danger of it. If you just even want to do a quick Google and see the difference of a child being hit at 10 miles an hour versus a child being hit at 40 miles an hour, which is the speed limit on that road, it's not pretty. It's pretty bad. So I don't know if we want to go photocop. We would be the only one in the state who is doing it. But if the appetite is there.
Let's do it. I'd like being the only one.
We'd make the news, that's for sure.
Anything else?
Nope.
Oh, that was
That's all,
Jeremy.
that's all I got.
Your turn.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
adding on to his, because I'm on that committee too. Really, we've had a great meeting with the Parks Department again. I tell you, we've got a fantastic manager, Shay, who is handling it, and it's good to see all the plans that are going on. The parks, as you know, have I think we've gotten rid of all of the porta potties now because all of the sports out there are done. So I will get back and we will post the actual closing date for the park bathrooms. I figure it'll be pretty soon though. So
They already.
Park bathrooms are closed.
are they?
Yep.
Okay. So the date is yesterday,
First part of November.
whatever. Thank you.
Angie.
I don't have anything to report. I'll defer to our chair of the municipal utilities for any updates. And then I'll let Shaylee announce for our Christmas breakfast with Santa. So.
Okay, Blair, are you still with us?
I'm still with you, but since you can barely hear me, I'll let you report on the Public Works building.
Okay. So Public Works Building, we've had our walkthrough, and we had some items that were needed to be addressed, handful of them. And they're in the process of taking care of them. Most of them weren't real serious. One of them was, and that's what's taking a little bit longer. They had to redo some drains in the bathrooms down there in the shower room. And they're in that process and probably on the tail end of that process. I'm thinking that it's probably going to be another week and then that should be all wrapped up and ready to go. We are down there with our loader and our salt bay is full of salt and we are loading trucks when we salt the roads out of there. But we're looking forward to using the rest of the building. It looks really nice, very beautiful. I think you'll all be impressed when we go down and take a look at it. And I think that's about it. Dave, is there anything I missed that you want to mention? So it's just in the main building. The other areas have been addressed and taken care of. So a couple of items there, basically the drains. And I don't know, we're still waiting for the wash bay equipment and probably will be for a little bit, but we can occupy and get going. So that's what we're looking forward to. I was down there today. I stopped by, but everything was locked up, so I couldn't go in and check it out. But that's about it. Blair, is that it? You got anything else there?
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Okay. With that, Shaylee, let's have you talk about our big breakfast with Santa coming up Saturday.
Yeah, breakfast with Santa is coming up Saturday. It's going to go from 9 to 11 at the Family Activity Center. Santa comes at 9 sharp until 10:45, and then breakfast will be served from 9:15 to 11. It's $5 per person, and it's usually a fun event. So I'm looking forward to it. I know we have a few competing events going on throughout the city that day, but ours is going to be super cool. So come to that one. Thanks.
So we got plenty of help coming, Shaylee, to take care of everything. Council?
Are we supposed to be there at any given
Be
time?
there flipping burgers, and Jeremy, you're gonna be scrambling eggs.
Oh, okay.
What you did last year?
I think I did do eggs last
Why I
year.
brought that up.
What time are we supposed to be there?
Be there by 8.
be there at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
We've got to upset everything done, don't we, Shaylee? Tables and everything.
I'm going to be there at 7, but I do have helpers from the rec center that are going to be there at 7 with me. So we should be good on tables and chairs and stuff.
Okay.
I just need you guys there cooking the food. So 8 o'clock, I think, is a great time.
What time?
8.
8. Okay, 8 o'clock. Okay, with that being said, this is the last. Did
You have
something?
one question, Mayor.
Who?
If I may ask one question, I didn't hear the report back, so I'd like to know when the audit committee is going to meet before the end of the year. We got a date set.
I sent out to the members of the audit committee to schedule that meeting, and I've received a few responses back. But it looks like we will have the audit committee meeting either between Christmas and New Year's or right after the new year. And then the audit report will come to the council January 13th. Yeah.
Good.
Is that something we should have a special meeting for with that one agenda item? Because it is due by the end of the year.
Council has a chance to adopt, but it seems like it's going to come off before the end of the year. Then he gets it after the first of the year, then it comes to the council in January. That's how we've done it in the past. I don't necessarily agree with that. I stated my position. That's the schedule. Then that's the schedule.
Okay. Perplexed?
You can make
No.
a suggestion to change it.
I've been suggesting it all year long.
It's true. He has. I can witness that.
Well, do we want to have it changed? What would it mean? We'd have one extra meeting?
It's tough, given the way finances are handled in the city, and I don't suggest we get into the grassroots, but for them to reconcile the records for the fiscal year.
Closer.
For them to reconcile the records, the expenditures for the fiscal year, it can't be done by July. They're taking up to end of August, I guess, maybe into September before all the records can be closed. And then the reports can be given to our auditor, and then our auditor can do the audit. It makes it difficult with 6 months to get that all done if we're taking 2 to 2.5, 3 months to reconcile our records before the auditor can even begin.
I believe you on all of that. So is there something you want to change? That we can
Oh,
support you?
it's just a function of how can we close the books on the fiscal year sooner and start the auditing process sooner. And I don't have a solution. That's something that staff needs to be able to internally look at. And if it can be accomplished, then let's move forward. But I would like to be able to have the audit presented to us at this time.
Right.
The committee could have met in November to review the report. The audit presented to us at this time, and then the council could have adopted it. Then it gets submitted to the lieutenant governor's office. That's how I think it ought to happen. But unfortunately, carts before the horse. So we are where we are today. We're better than we were last year. So I'm happy for that.
We are. Yeah.
We are, but for the record, I am happy to meet in a special meeting if we need to approve that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like absolutely, we should have the correct process in place.
I believe we need to have a special meeting. I would love to call for one, but again, I don't know the status of the audit. I don't know if it's done. And if it's not done, we can't really meet until it is done to be able to take a look at it.
Dave, would you be willing to take a look at that and see what the options available are?
Wayne's last sentence was the most important one there, that the audit's not done. So
Yeah.
meeting on it, we can't meet on it until it's done.
Yeah.
And the deadline is the 31st of December. And since I started here, we have pushed up to that deadline every single
Yeah.
year. And there've been many years where our finance director has been working late nights the week of Christmas to New Year's to get that done on time. This year, we are pushing to try to have that done earlier. We hope to have that done before Christmas. Wayne's timeline of having it done a month before that so that we could have it to the council in December rather than to the council in January. I agree with that as a goal. We're not there this year. And, you know,
So
our
next year-
auditors have the information now. It's in their hands. They're working on the audit portion of it. But, being done, having the audit committee look at it, and then having the council, approve it essentially. Ultimately, the audit report is between the auditor and the city council. It's their report card on staff essentially. And so their report is never adjusted and changed by the committee or by the council. It's their report, their document. And so whether the council sees that and adopts it or approves it, before it's submitted to the lieutenant
So
governor.
you're saying we don't matter. Got it. Can we shoot for the first week of December next year? Keep on pushing it forward a little bit.
That actually is one of my goals, is to
Awesome.
continue pushing it back. You have to keep in mind, we don't have 6 months. We have 4 months, because year end doesn't officially end until end of August.
Yeah.
First part of September is when we have all of that data available and ready to start anything at
I
that.
see, that's where I think, trying to get into the weeds here, but that's where I think we need to start. Is why is it taking, I should say why, because I don't want to put you on defensive. How is it that it takes us until the end of August to be able to close out the records, where I have other experiences with other local districts, other cities, and they're able to have their books closed by the end of July. And so I don't know if it's how we're processing, how we're reconciling, when we're getting those invoices, but I think there's something we might be able to do to require June's invoice, where the work was done, to be submitted by a certain time in July, so we can close those books, rather than wait until August, September, and then take the time to put all the documents together, because there's a lot of time that has to happen to put auditing documents together. That has to be, the information has to be presented to the auditors in a certain manner, and that takes a level of effort as well. And then that has to go forward. So it's not just, okay, our books are open, come take a look at it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paperwork that's happened, but to do that, you got to close the books. And I'm still struggling, and that's why I want to be educated. Why is it taking 2.5 months to close the books when it should, in my mind, take less than 4 weeks?
There's a lot of state funds that we get that we don't get until the end of August, that actually relate to the prior year.
Those can't be journal entered.
We don't know what they are
You
until
don't
we
know the
get them.
number? Okay.
We don't get them until we can estimate what they're going to be. But the real number doesn't come until typically that first week of September. on
But
some
you
of
could
those.
start all the documents, all the other
We can,
preparation.
yes, we can start everything else.
Yeah.
And work on a lot of the other data.
When that number comes in, it's just drop it in the cell and
There,
done.
yeah, there's a handful of funds that we get from the state, not till the first part of
And I
September.
didn't mean to put you on the spot, right? I
No, you're
appreciate
totally
the
fine.
question, but I do think there's some room for improvement, so
Yeah.
that we're not going into January to see the instrument that.
Yes,
I don't want to be surprised, and I have the lieutenant governor's office call and says, why is this happening? And I haven't had a chance to see it as a council member.
yeah, I
that's the
totally
problem I'm
agree,
having.
yeah. There's definitely room for improvement. And I put that on me as the finance director. There's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot of things that have been brought to my attention and learned over the last 3 to 4 months that we're doing to make that progression and move forward with that, to have a closer to December 1st deadline. But yeah, that's one of our goals. It didn't happen this year. But we are further ahead than we were last year. But I still want to keep having a better response from the auditors and keep moving that date when we can. As I would like to have it in November if possible.
I appreciate the efforts today. Thank you, and thank you for the explanation.
Yep.
Thank you, Brett. We appreciate it.
Can I add one other thought? And that is, from my perspective, I have seen auditors get information from us earlier. I've seen it a little bit later in the 7 years I've been here. And it almost feels like regardless of when we've gotten it to them, they've waited until the end. They've had other clients, or they've prioritized us lower. So this idea of the council is saying we want it November 31st or November 30th. We want to have it to the council by our December meeting is very helpful for us in pushing that priority level and that urgency level with the auditor. So that sounds like an excuse and I don't intend it to be, but
You can let the audit manage us, or we can manage the audit. My
Exactly.
suggestion would be when we go out for selection process, which is coming up, we'd hard write it into the RFP that
Yeah.
the audit will be complete by this date, or there will be some sort of hammer. You know, I think we can hard code that in. That way, now you've got the contract on your side to help you move forward.
I like that a lot.
I like
Thank you.
that.
Yeah.
May I make a motion, we adjourn?
Well, I'm not through.
Oh,
Did I ask for that motion?
no, you didn't.
I just wanted to
Redacted.
mention, I came down the South Weber Drive and it was so pleasant and I enjoyed it so much, seeing all of the lights on people's houses as we came down the road, or as I came down the road. It took me back to my younger years when I used to see everybody had them up. But it looked really good and I appreciate all of those that have decorated their houses this year and made Christmas feel so real. And with that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas out there, and now look for a motion to adjourn.
Merry Christmas. I make a motion to adjourn.
Merry Christmas, I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas.